Welcome back, coffee nerds. Or should I say, welcome me back. Let's just say welcome us back. Let's get right to the point. First, I'm gonna tell you where I've been, what I've been up to, and then I'm gonna share with you why I'm back, why I decided to come back to YouTube. I know it's been a bit of a trend lately to quit YouTube, but I guess I was kind of early to the trend because I was looking the other day, it was actually 10 months ago since I posted my last YouTuber style video. I have posted a few of my podcast highlights since then, and I've taken them down by now, but you can still listen to them on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. I'll leave a link down in the description below, but I'm gonna be kind of reformatting those. So it wasn't because I didn't like them. I just wanted to kind of take a different approach to posting podcast episodes filmed with interview guests on YouTube. Anyway, how have you been? It's been a while. I've missed you. I'm glad to be back. You're gonna be listening to me blabber for a few minutes here, so bear with me. It's just that I was reflecting the other day on why I started a YouTube channel in the first place. I wanted to find a new medium to do better storytelling. It's basically the same reason why I started any new content mediums over the years. In fact, the first time I started a blog was back in 2012. I first moved to China. I wanted to be able to tell my stories and my experiences of living in China for a year. And so I started the Chopsticks and Kickflips blog back in my skate days. And then the next year I actually started getting into more and more into photography, and I wanted to share my photos with the world. That's when I started Instagram. And it was later on, a few years later, in 2016, when the Nomad Barista concept really started to take shape. And that's when I started the nomadbarista.com blog to share better stories of my coffee travels around the world. So of course, the following year, as a traveling photographer, sometimes behind the lens as a filmmaker making some videos, I decided, why not start a YouTube channel? But I wanted to do something different, a little bit more unique. I wanted to have a coffee YouTube. Within 30 seconds. It's not the perfect metaphor. Back when it was still nerdy and quirky, not like now. And so that led me to posting my first few farm visits, going to coffee farms in Mexico, or even just doing little brew tutorials back home while I was living in Toronto. And honestly, it was a blast. It was such a great tool to take with me on my travels, camera in one hand, coffee in the other, seeing coffee farms or investigating travel coffee gear that I would take with me along the way. But over the years, though I really enjoyed it, I just didn't really see it growing, not in the way that I expected or hoped or wanted it to grow. So I just kind of stopped around 10 months ago. It wasn't a deliberate, like, I quit, I'm out of here, I don't want to do YouTube. I noticed that the amount of time and energy that I was putting into the videos, anyone who's edited videos understands me, it's sort of like the bane of my existence, but I loved filming. And so I was always in this constant tension of how do I continue to do better storytelling while not being drained, and putting out a video after, filming, editing, posting, figuring out, subtitles and titles and more titles, and of course thumbnails. And of course, some of you were following along, and I really, really appreciate you for that. All your great comments, your likes. It did keep me going for a while, but it just didn't justify all the work that I was putting into it, and I wanted to invest that time in some other areas. Instead of getting sucked into the anxiety of, maybe why my ideas weren't working, I decided to put more work, more focus into my actual client work, the stuff that allows you to live and pay your bills and to honestly give me fulfillment. I felt a lot more relieved. I wasn't seeking, this sort of external metrics, and it was one of the funnest periods of my life. 2023, I got to travel to coffee farms. I got to go to a bunch of trade shows, meet some very interesting people, and even pitch some more unique documentary style coffee videos that I'm really excited about, and I'm gonna be sharing with you some of those in the near future. And so here I am back in front of you, drinking a coffee. Almost finished. Why? Well, as you know, life is full of dips. It's full of peaks and troughs, and as much as I love filming silly little videos of me making coffee while riding a bike, I felt like there's only so much that you can transmit in a 1 or 2 minute video watching it on your phone. I knew that there was more that I wanted to share. And so over the next little bit, I don't want to make any huge grandiose promises of the types of content I'm going to do or how much I'm going to grow. But I do have plans to dig into some of my past travel projects and share with you some of the insights that I learned along the way, maybe inspire you to do the same. Who knows? I also want to get into a little bit of coffee gear overviews. I'm not really like a reviews guy, but I do like to share new ways of doing things. But I do also want to focus a little bit on the traditional coffee gear as well, because I think that there's always something really important to learn from previous traditions and cultures from around the world. So we'll be digging into that as well as some of the travels. And as I mentioned earlier, of course, throwing in some of the full podcast episodes there as well, at least the ones that I filmed. So if you've made it this far, hopefully you're along for the adventure, you're along for the ride. And as usual, coffee nerds, see you out there.